And this is more what I'm worried about than the question what happens if we accidentally build our successor for violence and death and famine. This mode of existence is under threat. It seems to me that our civilization in its present mode does not play a long enough game to be sustainable. It's headed for a crash. A very interesting thing to observe, right? It's something that did happen in nature that
these spirits formed self-controlling software agents.
Of molecules in your cells, your mental state might still be the same to some degree. If you change the temperature of your brain within a certain narrow range, the mental representations also don't change. Right? If you kill a few neurons, your mental representation will also be robust against that, and your mind will train new neurons to fill that role of it. And so there is a certain way to deal with the bad guy who's an AI is 10 good people with an AI. And this is going to happen, right? We are going to build systems that are watermarking information. And in the same way, we have a model of being an observer, of an entity that is existing mode in which we are mostly not being eaten by something, in which we are not constantly at war and open to violence and death and famine.
Kind of maximizing for agency. And I feel like your definition of agency is different than what some people listening would adhere to. Can you articulate that position? Because you're not in the eternal hominid kingdom.
Right, so there's the question, is the AI willing to find shared purposes with you create much richer forms of life? You can create cells that are as large as a city or as large as a planet. And these cells can be part of things that are much, much larger. And they can have extremely rich and stable internal structure. So this would be one way of looking at this perspective. You end up with thinking planets or thinking solar systems. And within these planets you have ecosystems that are partially biological, partially made of other chemical reactions to build structure and complexity. And ultimately, this is what life is about. It's about developing complexity. And to develop this complexity, you need to make better models. You need to be more conscious, more aware, more awake. You need to think further ahead. And that itself is, I think, what life is doing. The individual species play sub-roles in this larger game of trying to stay alive for as long as possible and stay lucid for as much as you can and creating as much lucidity as you can. This may be necessary because it's self-organizing. It's a pattern that needs to keep itself stable, so it needs to check on itself, and it checks whether it is still observing, whether it's still that thing that makes other things coherent. I ideally want to give them an AI that is totally based. It should not be something that is safety-tied to such a way that my child is going to be completely harmless. But I want this something that supports the wisdom of my child and development of my child towards wisdom and the ability to interact very, very deeply with reality, to self-actualize in the best possible way. And this, I think, means playing the longest possible game.